Moss has some very basic parts. The first part is known as a rhizoid, which acts as the roots, sort of anchoring the moss to the ground as well as sucking up some water from the ground. The leaves are photosynthetic and gather energy from the sun just like any other larger plant would. A sporophyte is similar to a flower. It has a stem and a section on the top that ejects spores out in order to spread around, just like a flower would eject the seeds out of it. There are some common misconceptions about moss. First one is that it likes to live in a bunch of water, which just isn't true. Moss needs water to survive, but most of the water that it gathers up is from the morning dew, so it doesn't actually need to be in standing water. In fact, standing water will either cause it to hibernate or kill it. There are certain types that live underwater, but for the most part, excessive water will actually kill these plants. Another misconception about moss is that it doesn't like the sunlight, and that's just simply not true. Moss is photosynthetic like any other tree or bush or anything that gathers energy from the sun through its leaves. Moss likes the sun. However, the shady spots tend to be more moist, more consistent, and so the moss is easier to grow on north-facing slopes or in the shade. Thank you for making it this far in the video. I'll link a bunch of playlists that I have down in the video description, because most of the videos I make have nothing to do with moss. They actually are more construction related, finished carpentry, rough carpentry, concrete finishing, or just building a house in general. So I'll link a few of those down in the description. Feel free to check that out. Moss is remarkably resilient and grows around the entire planet and has done so for over 300 million years. Moss is used in a variety of applications. It can be dried and displayed in an art piece around fake plants. It can also be dried and then used in addition to compost or potting soil, because it has the ability, even dead, it has the ability to retain a lot of moisture without being harmful to the roots. Living moss is used in bonsai trees for display purposes. In some areas where moisture permits it, it is actually replaced as a ground cover, completely replacing grass. I live in a desert outside of Las Vegas a couple hours, which is really difficult to find living moss. However, it's easy to find moss all over the place, especially on the north sides of boulders or hills, but it's hibernating all the time. So you have to wake it up by consistently watering it, and you can refresh it and make it as green as it is in this video. This next shot is a pretty good close-up of the spores. You can see that stem-like structure, and then it kind of widens out a little bit, and that is almost like a flower, and then the very tip of that is where the spores get ejected in order to spread the moss everywhere. Moss will obviously not propagate while in hibernation, but all of this moss on all these video clips was collected after a rainstorm about 3 weeks ago, and that's all it takes. All these orange things sticking up from the moss are spores. Thanks for making this far in the video. If you like this content, please check out some of my other videos. Like I said, I'll link some in the playlist. And as for now, I'll leave you with this little clip that I filmed over a 6-day period of some flowers blooming in my greenhouse. Enjoy.